All right, in this daily video, we are going to go over 2 questions I was asked. I just picked them at random, so I haven't even fully read them yet. So we'll see. I hope it's not something bad. All right, here we go. When did things really change in your life as an entrepreneur? I will tell you that I used to work 20 hours a day. I was broke and I would bring my laptops on dates. I was 100 pounds overweight, had high blood pressure, and was not succeeding or achieving my goals. That was where I started. I went from there, and I'll tell you, I think that the biggest point that it shifted was when I realized that rather than just being an entrepreneur, working and hustling and trying hard and all of these kinds of things, which is all good, but if I'm not doing that in an intelligent way, I'm not going to build an organization. So I really got serious about building an organization rather than I'm just going to be a guy who's going to do a ton of work and be like busy and tell people I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I actually had to build an organization. So I started actually studying, and I started implementing that, and I got connected up with the right people who had done that, and really started to actually implement processes to build an organization. And when I started doing that, it started freeing up my time. I started getting less of the questions and the hassle and the problem and all these other things, and started to see expansion and growth. And I guess from that point, we've grown like 25 times, I think it is, in the last several years. And just seen amazing growth year after year, and now it's really getting into month after month because of applying these processes. And that's what I help with entrepreneurs with today. I mean, I travel around the world and get to do that, and so I love my life now. I love the fact that I get to go around the world and actually help other people solve these same problems, right? But it was that it took getting over this idea that I was going to be the only one. I couldn't be the only one in my business to carry the weight. I couldn't be the only one who knew everything. There's an aspect of that that's really fun, by the way. For a lot of business owners, they don't want to give up that hat. They don't want to give up that control. They want to hang on to it and be the one who's the guy. And I believe there's a bit of an ego thing there, at least there was for me, where I liked being the guy who had all the answers. And it was interesting because as I started getting other people to do it, they stopped coming to me so much for questions on things because they could do it and they could do it well. And the reality is that is the indicator that we're doing our job as executives. That is the indicator that we're being a good owner, is that we actually have people competently getting their job done. That is our indicator. So there is an aspect where you're actually having to step back from this position and let other people get their job done. You have to be willing to turn it over, which, I had to get over that. It took me really doing a little soul searching on that one to say, this is what I want to do. I do want to turn that over. And as I started doing that, my life changed. And it wasn't just in my business that my life changed. My life changed for my wife and our income changed. The amount of time that I have in a day changed. I don't have to work these crazy hours anymore. We now have 4 companies. They're growing. Things are going really, really well. And now we're just starting to expand into a whole new level. We've acquired a few companies along the way. It's just a very different lifestyle, and I'll tell you that would be the point that I would say was a turning point for me. And it sounds counterintuitive because you may think like that training and turning these things over and having people is not really that important of an action. And I will tell you, it's everything. That's everything. And I ask this question when I go around the world is, people will say, oh yeah, well, college, where do you learn these things? And I ask, okay, well, who in here went to college or university? And like most of the hands go up in the room. And I say, okay, well, that's your problem. And like everybody starts kind of laughing, sort of. They're like laughing because they think it's funny, but they don't know exactly why it's kind of funny. They think it's kind of odd. Maybe I'm trying to make some point or whatever. And so then I go, no, let me ask you again. Raise your hand if you went to college or university. And they all raise their hands. And I go, good. Now, look around the room. And I look around. And I see almost all these hands are up. Okay, good. Now, who learned to be a successful executive, a successful leader? You learned to build an organization and because over your own income in that schooling that you went to. Crickets. No hands go up. And I mean, one guy one time, I think he didn't understand the question. The reality is, you can't think it's a coincidence. I've asked that question in 30 different countries. You can't think that's a coincidence. You know what I mean? So I had to figure this out and learn along the way, and there's processes that I have that I've been able to follow and things that I've studied that I implement that allow me to do that. And that's what I help others do. That's what I help other people do is actually implement these processes in their companies. And one way we do that is we've actually joined, gotten partnerships with companies and actually become partners of theirs and help them scale their businesses, because my focus is in how do you build that scalable process? It actually scales up and can consistently grow, and it takes it out of this hardship and brings it into this, like, this is what we're trying to do the whole time, right? So anyways, that was like the real turning point for me to answer that question. Next question. What is the best way to create a new lifestyle for myself? I think it's a good question. I think it really depends on where you're at. For some people, they're working really hard, long hours, not making the income that they want. As an employee, you can, as an employee, actually cause your income to increase. Again, that's a training thing. Like, sometimes people think that employees can't make good money. That's not true. The highest paid people in companies are executives and salespeople. A good executive and a good salesperson are going to be the highest paid people in a company. If you never learned how to be a good executive, and you don't want to do sales, well, then you're probably not going to be in a position that you're going to have a lot of income. But that comes about from training. That's not like something you have to be born with, right? So we train people all the time on how to be better executives and salespeople. I mean, you're to train, you study, you learn, you practice, you do it. You go along and you're doing it and you hit a brick wall, you pick yourself back up again and you keep going. Studying is part of it, and actually doing is part of it. And you're gonna do that combination of both. And as you do that, you're gonna find that things become easier and easier, and do that. So your lifestyle change, how do you change your lifestyle, is gonna depend on where you're at. And so what I would first do is start with setting that goal, setting that thing you want to accomplish, and then you can start to work out how to get where you wanna go, right? But it's gonna be dependent upon that goal, what it is that you're trying to do. So focus on that first, set that goal, or goals, right? And then you can start to look at, here's where I'm actually at, and here's where I want to go. The biggest thing I see people miss is not actually facing where they're actually at. Like, they don't want to look at it. And if you don't want to look at it, that means you're never going to really see where you're at to where you want to go. You may not be as far along as you think, or you may be further along than you think. You may be actually in a better condition or position. But we get these weird games that we play where, I don't want to check my finances, I don't want to look at these things, so I'm not going to do it, right? So I'm not going to go and look, I'm not going to go face that, I'm not going to confront this problem. Then you never solve them, right? So the lifestyle change start with naming where it is that you want to go and what the things that you want to do, and then go and confront, look at where you are at, and you're going to see how you can actually move from where you're at to where you want to go. It becomes a lot more simple. All right, those were 2 questions. That's 4, but you get it. 2. Those 2 questions that people had sent in. Feel free to comment below. Let me know any other questions that you have, things that you've run into or situations you want help fixing or how to solve. And I'm more than happy to create videos to actually answer these questions for you guys. I won't even mention your name in it if you don't want. See, maybe you have a problem, you don't want to talk about it. Just private message me if you have that. Just message me and say, hey, I have this question. I can actually answer the question in videos and nobody will know it was from you. See, pretty good, right? All right, comment below, let me know, and see you guys tomorrow.